let's see, what do I want to do? Let's go more into Revelations. That's always a fun book. Sunday evenings, we're going through the book of Matthew. We've been going through some of the Gospels with the intention of making them, well, they're already real, but trying to make them as real as possible. Meaning, as we go through them, we try to people them with people we know. Because honestly, we do. We do know these people in the Bible. We know people just like them. Sometimes we're them ourselves. And we look at the ministry of Jesus and who it was impacting. We look at if Jesus was walking around Endicott or Endwell or Johnson City, what would the powers that be? How would they react to what he was doing? We try to look at stuff like that and try to put a very real perspective on some of the things in the Bible that we tend to, I don't know, sugarcoat or make more holy than it's supposed to be. Sometimes the words of Jesus have been very, very much misunderstood, especially by those who heard them first. We try to go behind the reasons Jesus may have said what he said to whoever it was that he said it to. It can be a fascinating study. It's more like a Bible study on Sunday evenings here and less of a service. Even though we do sing hymns and et cetera, we try to get into the meat of the book. And by meat, I mean the fork and knife, and then the juice runs out over the plate, and then you need napkins to clean it up later. That's what I mean. This stuff is real. And I know there's a lot of voices out there that say it isn't. I understand their point of view. My personal viewpoint is that Jesus taught me to stand back and love them anyhow, no matter what they say about my book and my God and my Lord and Savior. And I have to understand that it's already been said. They're not the first. They don't deserve my hate. My dislike, okay. My, how can you be so stupid? They deserve that sometimes, but more often than not, they deserve the type of correction that doesn't include batting them across the head and shoulders like we like to do. It's a good study, and as we go through the Gospels, we recognize the focus of them being Jesus. And actually, the focus of this revelation that we're going through, the focus is Jesus. The focus is Jesus. When he comes again, it's going to be, Gladys might put it, interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. As we read through the book of Revelation, we read a number of things about what's happening to the earth, the planet. Apparently, a lot of really bad stuff, to the degree where, I don't know if Bill Nye was up here and reading parts of this, he would tell you there's absolutely no recovering from that. No recovering whatsoever. And this is the early part of the book, right?
Yeah.
We have to remember that different things that are written down here are things that John saw. Some of them are in order. Some of them jump time a little bit. John was given this vision of the plan. God's plan is too big for our brains. Even he did the best he could to write it down, and the Holy Spirit helped him. There's a lot in this book of Revelation that we're not going to get. It's here, but we're not going to understand it all. The danger, of course, is that historically men and women have made doctrine out of a lot of this stuff, and they probably weren't supposed to. Some of it, Some of it they were absolutely supposed to, but not as much as they have. Who gets fidgety at the number 666? Don't. I walk under ladders all the time. I'm not superstitious. If you get fidgety at the number 666, stop it. Right? I think Bill and I would agree with us in that. Okay? So much of it is for God's understanding. It's here for us when the Spirit gives us glimpses of understanding and illumination as we read through this. We go, oh. But it's very careful because we're told to be careful about it. Don't put more into it than what's here. Don't be putting helicopters in here. Right? These black beasts, these black winged beasts coming out of the pit, they must be ISIS helicopters or whatever. I don't know. No, they're not. They're something unlike anything you've ever seen before. Just like God. When God told man, stop making statues of me. They're wrong. They're all wrong. I'm not like anything you've ever seen before. Ever. So stop it. Even our pictures of Jesus are wrong. So stop it. Leonardo da Vinci, a beautiful painting. I love it. I love it. The Last Supper, everybody sitting at the table, which is wrong. Right? The nice goblets and the nice Renaissance, drapery in the upper room. And no, it's all entirely wrong. It looked nothing like that picture. Nothing like that. Jesus is laying on the floor on pillows, and John is laying on top of him, kind of. That's a little closer to the picture. Is there a table? Yeah, kinda, but it's not like the ones that we have in our kitchens. So if we have that picture wrong, imagine how much we get wrong in our heads about Revelation. What we need to recall about Revelation is the point, which is it's about Jesus and his return and his conquering Satan. For a while, and then he lets him loose again, which is like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And God's saying, yeah, I know. Trust me. But none of this makes any sense, God. Yeah, trust me. When God is working in your life where none of it makes any sense, what do most people do?
Panic?
They give God the one-finger salute. Later for you. They do. You know it. Sometimes I have. Because I'm angry at him. Because I don't understand what he's doing in my life. Sometimes. Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? God says, I know. Trust me. Yeah. 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 And why cancer? Why are kids dying? Why do kids go hungry? No matter who's the president, why him? Why? Trust me. You go through this book, there's a lot of questions in here you can ask him. God is okay with that. He's got like all kinds of books in here where it proves that he's okay with that. Job. The Psalms. God would just as soon have you yell at him than, ignore. We don't treat God very good. We really don't.
Reminds me of a quote by Corrie ten Boom. When a train goes through a tunnel and it gets dark, you don't throw away your ticket and jump off. You sit still and trust the engineer.
Amen. Yeah.
I was kind of concerned when I went on that plane. I might flip out. I'm claustrophobic. And you're putting me in this tin tube that have these wings and there's gas and stuff. and it goes way up in the air where I'm not supposed to be, because I have feet, not wings. And I was a little concerned that I would be an absolute mess. I loved every second of it. It was great. But they said, well, hopefully there's a pilot up front that knows what they're doing, and here we go. And if we crash and burn, guess what? It says in here, I got to reign with the Lord Jesus for 1,000 years. I get to be with him as he's in charge of stuff, and things are going finally the way he wants them to. What's bad about that? That's incredibly great. Now, on the other hand, he doesn't want you slitting your wrists so you get there quicker. He's forming you for a function. He's formatting you. He's dumping a bunch of old files and rebooting you, and he's doing it every day. He does it to me all the time. I don't have to like it. I would prefer if I did like it, because I don't so much of the time, but here we are. Here we have, I believe we stopped in chapter 21. Apparently a new heaven and a new earth, a new Jerusalem. And it describes things our brains can't comprehend. It tries to give us some kind of a measurement, some kind of a... I've seen pictures, people try to paint pictures or draw pictures of this. And I'm going, well, that doesn't look at all nice. But... Chapter 21, the book of Revelation. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful, and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and fornicators, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fires, and brimstone, which is the second death. God has a rule. He gave us some really good rules. We call them commandments. And I'm not just talking about the ones that Moses brought down on pieces of rock. I'm talking about the ones God gave us through the mouth of his son Jesus. Like, love your neighbor like you do who? Yourself. Anybody here ever done that at all? Ever? Huh? We tried. During the flood, we saw quite a bit of parts of that. We saw a lot of other nonsense too. The fearful and unbelieving. Verse 8. the abominable, and murderers. Now, again, what is murder? Not just something where you take a gun out and shoot somebody, or you take a knife out and cut them.
Hatred without cause.
It's thinking it.
Hatred without a cause, we're going through that. The without a cause part is questionable. Hey, you hate somebody. As far as Jesus is concerned, you've already killed them. That's tough. There's a lot of things we should rightly hate, right? Get with God on it. Don't get with me on it. I'm broke. He's fixing me. I don't know the answer. He does. For you. You got a hate issue with somebody? Get with him. He's the only one that can fix it. Are you abominable? Maybe somebody thinks you are. I can't possibly be. Oh, really? You might be. Who have you loved like Jesus wants you to lately? Well, my wife, because that's easy. I like her. She's cute. What about somebody who ain't cute? That's hard. Fornicators, and we're not just talking about the sex act here. We're talking about doing physical things with no heart involved in it whatsoever. No thought. No respect for the fellow human being. There's a lot of fornicating going on. It's got nothing to do with sex. We group entire groups of people and we do this to them, whether we realize it or not. Sorcerers, well, I haven't done any, Ouija board stuff recently. What other types of sorcery are there? Well, my horoscope says. Oh wait.
Being superstitious.
Being superstitious. 666. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Samuel said that rebellion is the sin of witchcraft.
Rebelling. What is sorcery exactly? It doesn't just wear the hat with the, they don't ride a broomstick around, right? It's not what you think. Sorcery is a lot of stuff.
Probably similar to idolatry, wouldn't it be?
Well, yeah. Idolaters. Well, I don't do that. I don't idolize anybody, really.
How big is your
Except me.
TV?
I was about to say that.
Huh?
How big is your TV?
It's pretty big. I don't watch it a lot. We got a big room. See, there's a reason for it. Why have a TV at all? Yesterday, now, this is confusing for us. See, it's this little stuff. It's these little things that we do that we don't get with God on and ask Him if it's okay. Yesterday was the anniversary of 2 deaths. My very close friend Billy Davis and a guy I don't know at all, Keith Emerson. Now, Keith Emerson was a conductor. He wrote music, composer. He was a keyboard player who changed music forever. Yeah. Amazing. An amazing guy. I work very hard to play like him. I don't have his hands. I can't. He's given me ideas. He created so many sounds that we're used to now that didn't exist before he started goofing around with electronic keyboards and synthesizers. Is he an idol of mine? I have to really stop and consider that. I thought just about everything he ever recorded was incredible. Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between having an idol and someone you consider worthy as an example?
An example of what? As a human being? he had a lot of problems. This Keith Emerson, he wasn't a particularly good guy. He wrestled just like everybody else with God. He believed in God. He kind of believed in Jesus. I don't know if he was a saved man or not. Not my place to judge. I didn't idolize the things that he would do. I idolized the gift that God gave him, I suppose. I would prefer to say I really, really respected his gift and was able to utilize a lot of it. But I have to stop and think. Am I idolizing this guy? It's a question for me and God. Not you guys. I'm just telling you about it. Idolaters. What other kind of idolaters? How about us? How great I art. Yeah. Don't call me at 4 in the morning. You know, I'm busy. I don't have time for you.
That's what stops us from loving people the way that Jesus wants us to.
It stops it. It makes us break the commandment. Ooh. This is harsh. And it's cold out, so let's get to the good stuff. No, let's think about this. This is the good stuff. Because when you come to the conclusion that God really loves you and wants to make you better, that's a good place to be. Because you drop so much garbage then. Garbage that's cluttering up your life, your mind, your soul, your happiness, your fulfillment. We've got a lot of garbage we need to drop. A lot of it's been put on us by tradition, by society, by religion, by our neighbors, by what other people think we're supposed to act like. Parents, kids. Rowan's going around looking for Grandma yesterday. Grandma left. Grandma, will you play with me? No. I have to do... What? What do you mean?
What do you mean, no?
What do you mean, no?
That's what she said.
No, I'm not. I don't have time. I have to go. What? People expect us to react and act a certain way. Jesus intends for us to act and react a certain way too. It's a commandment. It's not a suggestion. The fearful, unbelieving, the abominable, the murderers, the fornicators, the sorcerers, the idolaters, all liars. Wow. I might as well close the book now and just go home and go to sleep. I'm depressed. 'Cause that's me. That's me.
It doesn't mean.
Shall have their part in the lake of which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. There came, verse 9, unto me one of the 7 angels who had 7 bowls full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me. So, oh, nice. And saying, come here, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb is white. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. And her light was like a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, names written on the gates, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. You can get really caught up on the numbers of this. And who is he talking about? Who are the foundations? It's amazing. It's amazing. You can put all kinds of things into this. Let's just take it for what it says. The wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Verse 15, and he talked with me, had a golden reed to measure the city and the gates of it and its wall. And the city lies 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. I have no idea how long that is.
It's
Somebody might have notation in their Bible about how long that is.
the whole,
Or somebody will look it up on their smartphone.
but the whole thing is massive.
Just mass.
1,400 miles.
Mine says 15.
Literally, it would be going up into outer space.
Yes,
It's massive.
yes.
Between 14 and 1,500 miles.
To the degree that the weight of it wouldn't be able to be held by the earth as we know it, except this is a new earth, so that's new. Jesus has made this new. And there's foundations. What they're going into, well, they're based on a number of things. And the disciples have something to do with it. The crazy 12 disciples have something to do with it? All those boneheaded guys? There's our hope, kids. There's our hope. What was Matthew? What did he do before he was a disciple?
Tax collector.
Tax collector. What else was he?
A thief.
He was a thief. He cheated people. Left and right. He was getting rich off them, or kind of wealthy. He was smart. He was careful. The cops didn't have, they may have had their eye on him, but the people, how much did they like Matt?
Not very much.
He's working for the Romans.
Yeah, he's working for the government. You know how that goes. They're working for the bad government.
Romans.
Yeah. So, no. And Jesus chose this thief to be one of his foundations, or a seed of one of these foundations. It's amazing. That's our hope. So that even if you match a number of the things in verse 8, guess what? The hope is in the other verses.
The blood of the Lamb that washed away those sins.
Jesus' blood. He makes you not abominable. And here's what it did. Here's what Jesus' blood did. He says, yeah, they're guilty. I paid the price already. I went to that fiery pot of hell for him, for her. It's done. It says so. It's done. He sat upon the throne, verse 5, said, behold, I make all things new. He said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. He said unto me, it is done. I am the beginning and the end. This is Jesus. I did this for you. It's done. Believe it. Now, go and have faith. Whether you understand today or the next hour or the next step or not. I can't take that step. There's nothing there, Lord. I know. Go and do it. I'm here. Why does it feel like you're not so often? I know that too. Verse 15. He that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city and the gates of it and its wall. 16, and the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth, and he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall of it 140 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall, if it was of jasper, and I don't know what jasper is, but the city was pure gold, like clear glass. So I'm guessing it looks nothing like Donald Trump's penthouse. That place has got way too much yellow for me. I couldn't stand to be in it. It's like, wow, give me some shades, man. Where's the wood on the floor?
But to make it that clear means there's absolutely no impurities.
No impurities. What makes gold yellow?
Impurity.
Impurities. Yeah. This is, you see through it. This is unadulterated preciousness here. All of it.
And yet we walk on it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
It says gold is about the same value as dirt.
The building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold like clear glass, and the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. First foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, and the fifth, see there's a bit of Ireland in there. The fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th, whatever that is, turquoise, the 11th jacinth, the 12th amethyst, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Each one of the gates was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple in it. For the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. What did God, through Jesus, say you are? What is your body? Something to consider. Jesus is the temple of this. God is. The city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine on it. The glory of God did light it, and the Lamb is the lamp of it. And the nations of them who were saved shall walk in the light of it. You're going to walk on pure gold, and it's not yellow. And you're going to be scared because it's transparent. You think you're going to fall. No, you're not going to be scared because he's there. Can you imagine not being scared?
No.
Can you even conceive of that? Can you conceive of the idea of not having any fears or trepidations whatsoever?
Definitely not.
We can't get there now. But oh my. What a thing to try to... I'm not talking about, guys that, I'm not scared of anything. Yeah, I know. Yes, you are.
Scared of dying.
Scared. I'm not scared of dying, I'm scared of how.
Yeah.
The idea of suffocating is not fun. The idea of being in an accident where I'm a vegetable and can't move,
Right.
losing my hearing.
Thank God you're not there.
Yeah. And any of this stuff can happen at any second. He's getting us ready to function differently than we do now. It's a new wonderment, a new earth, a new incredible thing that he's given it to John. John saw it. It's already done. This stuff, it's future history. It's done. The Alpha and the Omega have done it already. This is just incredibly hard for our friend to wrap around. I'm with you. I know. Can't picture some of this stuff. Some of these stones I've never even heard of before. I wouldn't know that they didn't on the ankle, which they probably won't. The city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon. Well, there goes physics.
Yeah.
The laws of physics. Bye-bye. Different now. Well, that's not real. No, it's not. For us now.
He made the laws of physics, so he made all things new and changed it.
You can change them. What do we know now that we didn't know 50 years ago?
We don't have 3 weeks to discuss it.
We don't. What used to be sorcery is now what? Science. Stand up, please, Corey, would you? Could you please talk to somebody in China for me right now? Is that possible?
If they were available on my smartphone,
Oh, he's got this magic box. Which? Burnham! That's just 100 years ago, guys. In some areas of this country, it's still kind of like that, which is really scary.
they thought when they got Morse code.
Yes.
Even 40 years ago, I didn't know anything about smartphones.
They didn't exist
No.
40 years ago.
For cell phones.
We can do things now that used to be sorcery, you know? It's gonna be like that. A new science. It's gonna be different. Because that's the way science works. Science has this fact until it gets more information to change that fact. That's how science works. God is all about science, not Bill Nye. He's got a limited point of view, as do we. We shouldn't be arguing with the man, we should love him. You know? I think it'd be fun to go have a sub with Bill Nye. It'd be fun. He seems like a okay guy.
By the way.
Yeah. I had the same thing with George W. Bush. You know? Wonderful guy. Love to go have coffee with him. I don't know if he's going to be such a hot president. You know? There's a lot of people I love, and they should never be anywhere near the White House in that capacity. But there we are.
We all make mistakes.
Yes! Yes. The city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God did light it. And the Lamb is the lamp of it. And the nations of them who are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. Which is interesting, because if there is no night there, then there's also no day. Right?
What about keeping the
It was
river?
all day. Do you see where our human conceptions creep into this? There's no night there. Okay, it'll never be dark.
There'll be no time.
That's not exactly what it's saying.
No time.
No time, no sun, no moon.
We won't have.
Confusing. They shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no way enter into it anything that defiles, neither he that works abomination or makes a lie, but they who are written in the Lamb's book of life. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. Who likes the ocean? What does it smell like sometimes? Ew. Ew. This is why there's no more seas. This is different water, man. This is like, you never had this kind of water before. We can partake of some of it now, though. When we trust, when we let him lead, when we don't be idolaters, when we let Jesus lead us, when we don't be murderers, when we love instead of hate, when we don't be fornicators, when we do our best to respect people, when we do our best to show grace to people like Jesus has shown to us, that's light. And it confuses the daylights out of people. They don't know what to do with it. Somebody does you nasty and you turn around and you go, I forgive you. Okay. What do you mean? What do you mean no? I want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with you. I'm told not to. I'm told to not think so much of myself that I don't fight with you. I'm trying to figure out why you're like you are. I'm trying to figure out what happened in your life that makes you like that. I'm trying to have empathy for you. I'm trying to have compassion. I'm working hard to love you anyhow. Even though the fist is like, shut up. We resort to shut up and the fist too much. I should do. I should do. You can argue for defense. There's a time to defend. Think of King David and that giant. King David didn't treat him very nicely, did he? But the giant wasn't a good guy. And God told David what to do. I love it. They're putting armor on this kid, right? On this young boy. They're putting armor on it. And he's like, get this trash off of me. It gets in my way. And he goes out with like a kilt and a sling. This giant is like laughing, and they're all laughing, and David is standing there. You have insulted my God. That's enough. It's time for you to stop now.
David never got close enough to.
Bam! Hit him in the rock, stuns him, goes over, cuts his head off. We like that. Revenge. No, it wasn't David's. David was just the part that God wanted, the person that God wanted to play in that. That's what we need to remember. We like the fist and the gun, and the knife, and the revenge. And God, He doesn't. He would rather nobody act like that. That needs revenge taken on them. There shall no way, again, verse 27, enter into it anything that defiles, neither he that works abomination or makes a lie, but they who are written in the Lamb's book of life, whose blood he bought, whose names are written in there because of him, and what he did, not what we did. Showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb, in the midst of the street of it. And on either side of the river was there the tree of life, which bore 12 kinds of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. And there shall be no night there, and they need no lamp neither, neither light of the sun, for the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. Amen. There's more to it, to be continued. Isn't that amazing? If we can try to get some of the concepts in here in our brains, it's remarkable. It should be remarkable enough to change how we behave. Now,
That's you.
it's why the word is here. In approximately an hour, one of you, all right, I'm prophesying here.
Yes.
In about an hour, one of you are going to get upset about something. You need to not be. In about 2 hours, somebody's going to do something that you're going to have to forgive them for. Whether it's driving out of here or whatever. You're going to go to the store and somebody's going to be real stupid. Do something real stupid and you're going to have to go, you're having a tough day, aren't you? The one time I did that in an department store, I thought the girl was going to plot. It was around Christmas season up at Kohl's. This one woman, we were standing in line. It was like 3 a.m. But we're standing in line. She's like, oh, and the song came on, most wonderful time of year, right? In the radio, and she's like, oh, and she said a couple bad words. Most wonderful. I says, relax, let it be. I said, who are you buying presents for? She says, oh, mine. I said, well, that's great. You're doing something great. Be happy about it. So what if it takes a little time? What else we got to do at 3 a.m?
Sleep.
And she's yeah, you know, and she just kind of smiled. She started shaking her head. She goes, yeah. The time at the Detroit airport, right? You come back from the UK. I have one of my Christian t-shirts. Not that the other t-shirts are Islamic or anything, but
Christian message.
a Christian message on the back, and this one woman goes, oh, I was ready to give somebody holy heck. And then I read your stupid shirt. She goes, and I closed my mouth.
Yep,
I
that's
said,
the open.
Well, I guess I'm kind of sorry, but I'm really not sorry. And she goes, no, it was, I needed to see that, so. It was really funny. It was, we were on the plane and off the plane, and then it got canceled, and blah, blah, blah. Troubles, and I was just, it's okay. This is gonna get handled. And it did. And it did. Heavenly Father, help us trust you no matter how we see the end of it. We can't see through to the end of it. We can't see this. We have no idea what this looks like. There's a lot of pictures, but they're all wrong. And it's not the fault of the artist. They're trying to make beautiful work, and that's okay. And some of these pictures are fun for us to look at and go, ah, that's nice. But you're not about nice, you're about what's real. And you're about what's just. And you're about what's true. And we need to show that light. We need to let it shine through us so that others see it. Help us do that. As you mold us for your functioning. Help us be a little less angry about it, a little less fearful, and help us just trust you because it's done already. Help us focus on that fact. As we plod through snow and mud and yuck and whatever,